So we will keep it short, as she said. We are all tired, but it's very important to say that we are surrounded, I am surrounded here by the best talents in the hospitality industry in the region. So, and this region has been so welcoming that it's really important to put a focus on what you are offering and how you are dealing with this new focus on destination weddings. So let's start from you and let's understand how is your hotel contributing to this new focus for destination weddings?
I think, I'll keep it very short, and since we are the villains between the bar that's yet to be operational. I think, as a hotel, I probably would talk of a stretch. I would not give my individual hotel. Yes, we have beautiful hotels, 2 Marriott hotels, and we have great concept of something called a Shadi by Marriott, which you see on the stage, on the screen, and we kind of leverage this to a very, very large extent, given the fact that our focus on weddings back in 2020 became very, very intense. But what I'm really, really happy about is the fact that as a panelist, or as this industry veterans who are sitting on the stage, plus our partners who are sitting across, we've really put the destination of Mahabalipuram on the global map. I would, my personal comment about the place, and I read this on the digital screens. It says, once again, Mahabs. I probably would change that to Mahabs always, for sure, given the opportunity. But as a hotel, the way we are contributing destination weddings, I think, as a stretch, last year, the number of weddings have gone up almost by 100%. It's only for the fact that the education about the stretch of Mahabalipuram has gone out to a very large extent to our partners, to the country altogether. And that's where I think the success has come for all of us.
Thank you. So this brings me to the next question, which is there a joint strategy which is common to all the hotels and to the destination?
Yes, I would say there is a joint strategy, but nothing officially on paper as such. But what I would say is how this place, Mahabalipuram, has come together in previous large events, right? Just for recently, last 2022, we had the 44th Chess Olympiad, right? And Mahabalipuram was the highlight pretty much in the world. And how the hotels and resorts collaborated to make this a grand success was phenomenal, right? In previous events, where there was a requirement for almost about 3,000 people, residents of 3,000 people or conference, we as hotels in Mahabalipuram come together extremely well. So for the question as what you asked, we work as a unit. Yes, of course, we are different companies, but in the end of the day, it's the destination which is the bigger part of the game. So that's how we look at it.
Thank you.
Can I come on this?
Sure.
So I think the joint strategy, I think the law of this game is collaboration, and I think we have been doing that very well on this coast. And I think the proof of the pudding is this, the B2B session what we are having today. It's about all the hoteliers which we put together the entire show. And thankfully we are the last. The main theme is Mahabalipuram, but we are the last today. So we left the last to the best.
Yeah, I just would like to add one point there to what the gentleman said. I think the strategy is very simple for all of us. We definitely want the Mahabs to come up. We definitely want to collaborate a lot more with all the wedding planners. We definitely want to have much more business coming into this, because this is purely a virgin a city, I should say. The entire Mahabs, there is a lot that can be done together, and I think all the general managers here, and of course the CEO as well of GRT, we all agree that we as a hotelier community, we work hand in hand here. We work together, all 6, 7 of us put together. We have almost 700 to 800 rooms inventory here. That means we have a large scale of weddings that can happen here. So the strategy is simple. bring more business, bring more weddings happening in the Mahabs.
In fact, when there are large weddings, we collaborate with other hotels. There are Grand Bay and there are other hotels where people stay in those rooms, and we share events too. So there is why I'm saying this is wedding planners need not worry that each one of our hotels have maybe 150 rooms or 200 rooms only. We together have 800 rooms on this coast.
Yes. So collaboration among you, but collaboration also with planners. This is something coming from a planner. How do you manage to create relationships, and what kind of incentives do you give to planners?
Well, I think the best incentive any planner would expect from a hotel is, I think, the flexibility. And we as hoteliers in Mahabs, I'm sure I can talk for my friends around here as well, that we are absolutely flexible. You know, I worked up north for almost 22 years. Did a lot of weddings in Rajasthan, did a lot of weddings in UP as well. One thing that I've definitely learned from there is every wedding planner, the first thing that they would expect is a flexibility from the hotel. Because there are so many last minute requests that comes from the host, from both the sides, from the guests who are attending the weddings. They're always on the toe, and they are facing the guest, the host, and they need to be given the answers quickly. And if the hotel doesn't cooperate, they come into a fix. They come into a sticky situation where they're not able to handle the host. So in that way, we, at least, I can talk about myself, at Kaldaan Samudhra Palace, which is just 2 kilometers from here. The first thing that I tell the wedding planners is, you will get absolute flexibility till the time the palace is taken care, till the time there is no damage to the palace. You will get what you want. You will get what the host wants. That's the best incentive that I could give as a hotelier to all the wedding planners.
Okay, but being a planner, I tell you that the most important thing is to have the experience. Because if you have lived the experience yourself, then you can sell it to the client. So invite them. They are waiting
Absolutely.
to see your beautiful properties.
I think all of you are experiencing for the last 2.5 days. I think you've seen a lot of hotels in this stretch. You have experienced the hotels as well. You exactly know now what Mahabalipuram can offer to all of you. And obviously, all of you are more than welcome to visit personally to any of our hotels, experience more. If you want to stay, experience the kind of experiences that we create here. And I always say, now weddings obviously are not transactional. They're very, very experiential. And I think Mahabalipuram is one location where that experiences can be fulfilled. So all of you are more than welcome to come back as guests, as planners, along with the guests to any of our hotels. Thank you.
So weddings are pretty complex. So the complexity of wedding means that you do not only need to meet the requirement of the couple, of the family, but also to find the good match with all the vendors involved. Which means that sometimes you also need to find a good match with the designers, not only with the planners. And as we were mentioning yesterday, there is this trend of designers to transform the space. How do you manage this kind of request? Are you flexible, or do you have limits and restrictions in terms of changing the location and transforming the space?
See, we believe as hoteliers that we have to give the best experience to the guests, and designers too are our guests. So at the end of the day, there is an unwritten law that it all translates to money. So we are open for the transformation, what you're saying about, if it doesn't damage the property, and then we don't have to spend more in repairing that after you go away. You must have seen yesterday how we transformed our lawns. The lawns are not like that usually. They're very plain and they have beautiful grass. But we took a call that we will make them transform the lawn, and tomorrow I have to repair the lawn again. So I have taken that cost into the entire thing. So we believe there is a certain amount of flexibility. We believe that we should give that experience to the guest if they feel that's very important. But then we sit down and then we work that out across. But we are flexible. And I think most of the hoteliers here, I think we are flexible, and we have venues which are really neutral. So you can do whatever you want in those venues. So I think as wedding planners, this is the best thing which you can get as an open scape.
I would like to come here. You know, I totally agree with Sridhar and Vikram. Now, here we don't work as, you know, vendors and hoteliers. We work as partners. There are a lot of things, you know, which comes into play. You know, the setup, the entire setup, setting up the entire lawns, etc., which needs a lot of time. Then the dismantling of the setup, which again needs a lot of time. It takes almost a day or two when you're doing a marriage of about 1,500 people or 2,000 people. So there, the flexibility of the hoteliers, they make the production houses comfortable. That is fine. You can, you can have the time and do it with us. That is what is very, very important, because otherwise everybody is rushing and you're not able to give what the expectation from the customer. So that is how, the people work over here. And of course, we have amazing, wedding planners and the production house in Chennai. I am brought up in Delhi, and I have worked for 18 years with different chains. But after coming to Chennai, I realized, the people are so good, so humble, so creative. It's absolutely amazing. And I would like to give a big round of applause for these people. And they also really work like partners. That is how, we excel in our work.
So flexibility, availability on your side. Yesterday we were talking about food hero versus design. What's really important in this region?
Okay. Let me share my perspective about the ECR Belt, Mahabalipuram, and which represents South. Yeah. First of all, the ECR Belt and Mahabalipuram is the only place which today has said good morning or good afternoon to Goa as a destination wedding. Honestly. Now, the perspective which I want to share with you, please listen to properly. When you're dreaming of a wedding with a private beach, with pristine blue water of Bay of Bengal, and when you get up in the morning with bird chirping, vis-a-vis the honking of the traffic, with beautiful butterflies around, and overlooking beautiful red, pinkish colored sun rising from the pristine blue water. And then in the evening, when the orange-yellow light glows onto your face, when you're sipping over a concoction, a beautiful concoction, and listening to the music of waves, and the cool breeze, it really touches your heart and soul. Then, ladies and gentlemen, ECR, Mahabalipuram is the destination for the destination wedding. To be very precise.
That's your storytelling.
And then, on top of that, we have amazing production house. On top of that, Mahabalipuram, even the Tamilnadu tourism, the government is trying to promote Mahabalipuram. And I think the people of Chennai know the biggest event which happened in South, the Chess Olympiad, happened in Mahabalipuram. So, I once again reiterate that the Mahabalipuram, the ECR Belt, is the place for the destination wedding. And it offers you 50 different hotels, from budget to the luxury, and 6 more coming. That is what my perspective is. Yeah.
Right, just to add to that, I'd like to finish that point. Yeah, food is an important part of the wedding. So the hotel needs to have a certain bandwidth to ensure the requirement and personalization of what food is required. Maybe food is required in certain themes. Maybe in the first day you have a certain theme, second day you have another traditional theme, etc. But I would also emphasize that the decor, the setup, the ambience, the service, the overall look and feel of the place has to be in sync with what the event person has designed. We saw some fabulous designs here. The food has to pair and be, complementing those designs. So in the end, it's the overall 360 which is most important thing. So to answer what you had asked, so I believe it is just not only about the food, right? We as hoteliers, and I don't know how many GMs here agree with me, when we discuss with the guests on the food pricing, the events and the decor takes the bigger piece. So I have a small peeve there, but overall it's the 360 which gives the entire experience to the guests.
Thank you.
Sharon, you are asking very simple questions to these fine gentlemen. I mean, Mr. Thapa really clarified with his poetry. And when he starting poetry, that means it's a little late for the bar. So, ask them more difficult questions. You're asking very, very simple questions. Why the romance of this destination? Mahabalipuram, why do people come here? Is it because of the food? Is it because of the hotels? For our hotels, of course, beach is a given. It's there. The whole idea, the romance of this destination is because of the temples. Temples of Mahabalipuram. So, in other words, if you ask anyone in the audience who was the first person to do a wedding in Mahabalipuram, many people will raise their hands that I was the first person. So I did a little digging. So that journey takes you to a temple, not very far from here, about 15 kilometers on the way to Chennai. The temple is called Nitya Kalyanan Perumal Temple. If you pronounce it, dinner is on me for you. No, you cannot.
No way.
Okay. Never mind. So that temple is dedicated to weddings. The specialized destination is known for its weddings starting from the 9th century when that temple was built. And that was on the occasion of a wedding between Lord Vishnu. I'll explain you who Lord Vishnu is in a minute. Lord Vishnu and Goddess Bhudevi, Mother Earth. That marriage is represented in the form of 2 pictorials in the temple itself. That wedding is still visited by people who have aspirations to get married. Not too far from here, I encourage you to
So it's
go and visit that.
a new claim for the region,
Yes.
land of marriage.
Yes, that's correct. So the reason I'm saying this, the first wedding was done by Lord Vishnu with Goddess Earth in this very location. And there are archaeological records stating, this is legend of course, but the archaeological legends state that the entire Mahabalipuram was underwater at one time. And it came up, and that's when the wedding took place. That is reenacted in that temple on a daily basis in the morning time. You must visit that temple.
Okay. So everything was positive, all positive words about the region, but there are always challenges. What's your most difficult challenge with the wedding?
Well, right now, being known, Mahabalipuram only came to light about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, globally. Like Sir said, 7 years ago, maybe the wedding started with this very hotel. So credit where it's due, Radisson Temple Bay was one of the hotels which started this phenomena of weddings. They popularized Mahabalipuram. And of course, after that, all the hotels that are sitting here came a little after that. So now since we have multiple hotels, 6 sitting right here, we can attract bigger, better weddings, people from outside of India, people from within India who have not heard of Mahabalipuram. There are many like that, believe it or not.
So it's visibility mainly.
Yes.
Okay. So
Sorry, challenge is just a thought process. I feel there are no challenges. You know, it's just a thought process. It's a word which is there in the mind. If you are positive, there's no challenge. So that is what is my thought process. Yeah.
So on a closing note, because we need to close down, I'm asking each one of you to just say 3 words, like 3 adjectives, which you would convey to couples in order to invite them to choose the south of India for their destination wedding.
So, I think, three things that truly define Mahabalipuram is, and especially to kind of give it out that message to our couples looking for destination weddings, I would probably call it three things as innovation that these hotels generally do, and that's how we've come together as a cluster. Our food and beverage offerings, while I was talking to a couple of our planners, and this is one thing that gets unconvincing at some point of time during their negotiations while closing a wedding in Mahabalipuram. So food and beverage innovation is going to be a key. And I think we've talked about it enough. Experiential wedding is something that one looks today when it comes to millennials. I think we do a great job in that. And I don't know, probably, it'll be wrong on my part if I don't call our extended sales sitting in this room, that the first thing that, as you said, flexibility, I call it trust. The trust that we build in you is the ones that you take it out and kind of put that on the table of a client and get that client back in Mahabalipuram.
Just to add to that, I would look at memorable, exponential, as he said, lavish, and I would like to add a key component is value for money compared to the rest of the cities in India.
Wow, that is wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to that.
I would say, so if someone wants to have a soulful, emotional, traditional, cultural, palatial, we've got all varieties here. We've got a full a la carte menu of variety of weddings that can happen in Mahabs. So we would love to welcome all the lovely couples who would like to get married.
I
in
think
Mahabs.
he's added everything that is in all the panelists' hearts in that list. Isn't that right?
Yes, absolutely. And ECR, of course, is East Coast Road. I actually say it's emotionally connected road. So there are a lot of emotions that's flowing on this road.
Thank you.
You want me to say the same thing? So I think what's unique about us is accessibility. We have an airport which is just 60 minutes away, and it's an international airport. And we have a beautiful scenic drive, 60 minutes drive, so they don't get bored. And then we have these beautiful hotels which are
It's
along
quite a
the
drive.
sea. Yeah, it's a beautiful drive. Yeah, and
An experience.
it's an experience by itself.
Sorry, in fact, I would come here. Driving is pleasure over here, rather than a stress. Driving is pleasure, yeah, absolutely, because there are huge, vast, empty roads.
Yeah. And we have a variety of cuisines to offer because we have chefs from all over the world. And whatever cuisines people want, wedding planners come up with, we are open to it. And we are also open for wedding planners to get their people, if they want specific food, we give them specific kitchens to them where they can work and they can bring out food. So we are flexible in that. And obviously we have venues which can suit each event. And we just have 2 hours away, we have a place called Pondicherry. So if you want to have a bachelorette party, you want to have an after party, it's not too long to take a drive to Pondicherry, and it's a very mystical place. It still looks like France has left behind a bit of their country in our country. So those are the different things which people, wedding planners, should look at when they are suggesting Mahabalipuram as a wedding destination to their clients. And you also said what incentives. So we also have something called the finding fee for the wedding planners. So we are working on them. So depending on the thing, we can sit down and work together so that we work with them as partners. So we don't look at them as vendors. They are partners. So when they come to us, we share whatever we get.
Thank you so much to the eminent panelists on the stage. I thank you. But due to paucity of time, I request the moderator to kindly wrap up very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause for the ECR Belt, the weddings going south.